Ever wondered what it actually takes to get an app from just an idea in your head all the way to the App Store? Well, we're about to map out that entire journey. We took a look at a massive 37-hour beginner's course and basically boiled it down to the key milestones so you can see the whole path right here, right now.
So you've got this brilliant app idea, but then reality hits, right? The big question: do you build for iPhone or for Android? And wait, do you really have to learn two totally different programming languages and keep two separate projects going? For most people, that's a huge hurdle.
And traditionally, the answer was, yeah, a pretty painful yes. You'd have one team writing code for iOS and a completely different team writing code for Android. That's exactly where a tool like Flutter comes in. Its whole promise is a total game changer. You write your code one time, and it runs beautifully on both iOS and Android.
So, let's really dig into that promise. What makes this whole one codebase idea so powerful? And let me tell you, it's not just about saving time for beginners. This is a strategy that professional teams use to build and ship massive, complex apps way more efficiently.
To really get this, we just need to understand one key difference. Think of a programming language as the ink you're writing with. A platform, on the other hand, is the book it all gets published in. Like iOS, Android, or even Windows. Flutter's magic is that it lets you use one kind of ink to write in all those different books, and it looks perfect every time.
Okay, so we get the promise. Now it's time to get our hands dirty. Every single developer's journey, whether they're a seasoned pro or just starting out, begins right here, setting up the toolkit. This is the foundation for absolutely everything we're about to build.
The course we're following lays out this really powerful modern toolkit. You'll actually design your icons and screens in a tool called Figma, you'll write the code itself in Visual Studio Code, and then you'll connect it all to Firebase to handle the back-end stuff, like user logins and storing data. It's the whole shebang, taking you from a picture to a working app.
What's great about this course is how honest it is. The instructor just comes right out and says that this initial setup, installing all the software, messing with system settings, it can feel super overwhelming. But here's the thing, if you feel that way, you're not alone. It is a rite of passage for every single developer out there. So, with all our tools ready to go, it's time to learn the local language. For Flutter, that language is called Dart. It was actually created by Google specifically for building user interfaces, so while it might feel kind of familiar if you've used Java or C++, it's also designed to be incredibly friendly for newcomers.
A huge part of coding is really just about organizing your data, and a map is a super basic way to do that in Dart. The best way to think about it, it's like a dictionary. You have a unique word, that's the key, and its definition, that's the value. This is how you'd store pretty much everything from a user's settings to product details in a shop.
And here's what that looks like in actual code. See, we're just creating a person that has a name and an age. Look at how readable that is. It's almost like plain English. This simple, powerful little structure is the fundamental building block for all the complex data your app is going to manage later on. All right, so we've got our tools, and we understand the basics of the language. Now for the magic. Let's see how all these pieces actually come together to build a real application. This is where all that theory becomes a reality. Okay, one of Flutter's most loved, absolute killer features is something called hot reload. In the old days, you'd change one line of code, hit compile, and then go make a coffee while you waited minutes just to see if you moved a button correctly. With hot reload, that entire wait time shrinks to less than a second. As the instructor puts it, you just hit save, and bam! The changes appear instantly on your phone or your simulator. And this isn't just about being fast. It fundamentally changes how you create. It makes building an app feel less like programming and a lot more like sculpting. Of course things are going to break. You're going to see a lot of red error messages, but the course reframes this perfectly. Seeing an error isn't a sign that you failed, it's a sign that you're actually doing the work. Learning to read those messages and fix your code is just as important as learning to write it in the first place. So, your app is built, the bugs are all squashed, and it works. But now comes the part that most tutorials just kind of skip over, getting it into the hands of actual users. This is the final, and let's be honest, often the most bureaucratic mile of the whole journey. Publishing on Apple's App Store, for instance, involves this very specific, non-negotiable checklist. You've got to get a DUNS number to prove you're a real business, security certificates to prove your app is legit, an app ID to give it a unique name in Apple's entire system, and provisioning profiles to tie it all together. It's really all about security and verification. And one of the very first decisions you have to make is,
Who are you? As a publisher, I mean. Are you an individual developer just doing your own thing, or are you representing a company? This choice changes everything from how your name shows up in the store to the kind of verification that Apple and Google require.
And this right here is where the intense attention to detail really becomes clear. You can't just upload a few random screenshots. Nope, you have to provide these pixel-perfect images for every single device size imaginable, from the newest, biggest iPhone down to older models and all the different iPads. It is a truly meticulous process.
But after you navigate all of that, the setup, the code, the bugs, and the bureaucracy, you finally cross that finish line. The whole point of a course like this is to prove that this journey is totally possible, to take someone from a blank screen and empower them to get their own app live in the store.
So when you see the whole journey laid out like this, from that first little concept to the final submission, it makes a process that seems really daunting feel structured and, well, achievable. The only question left is, what idea are you going to bring to life?